right, boys, we are in. Welcome to the live stream. Today we are testing the 265K and overclocking this thing to Kingdom Come on a mini ITX Z890 board. Hope you're in for it. So, different setup today. We're streaming off the main PC, running the Elgato capture cam off the mini PC for you guys. As you can see, let's see if we can get into it. Here is the mini PC. So we got the 265K here. I was able to get the RAM up to 7800. That's kind of where this thing maxes out at a stable temp or at a stable frequency. And I'm looking forward to just overclocking the living daylights out of this system, showing you guys how this works. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pull up the chat on the second monitor, or at least on my phone or something, to make sure I can monitor what you are saying. But yeah, this is a server PC. I have a Minecraft server running. I'll go ahead and, I gotta turn off caps. Stop that Minecraft server. Okay, everything's off. I did do a little bit of tuning, just like very slightly. I put on 5.4 on the E-cores, 4.8 on the E-cores, and 4 gigahertz on the ring, 3.1 gigahertz on the die-to-die in NGU. No issues with that so far. If you have no idea what that means, we're actually gonna dive into the BIOS today and you'll get to see a little bit of exactly what we're doing. So let's do that first. First, I'm just gonna go into the BIOS and I'm going to reset everything. Just put it back to stock settings. We'll test the CPU at stock. We'll overclock it. And then we'll kind of see the difference between overclocked and max OC. I guess I'll just pull chat up on my phone here. Welcome, Monigara. Welcome. So yeah, today's gonna be an interesting episode. Hopefully the mic sounds okay. I think it's coming through. It's gonna be a lot of just holding around, waiting for it to load into the BIOS here. And actually, I probably should put the heatsink on my camera here, just so it doesn't overheat. I'm just mashing on the delete key over and over and over again. And I think we're about to get in. We're in the BIOS. We're in the BIOS. Okay, let me get the heatsink for my camera. I'll be right back. Here we go. This thing on there. I don't know if it's going or not. Oh, am I pushing the wrong button? All right, let's get into it here. We're in the ASRock Fam Gang BIOS. I'm gonna have to tell you guys, I don't really like this BIOS too much, especially compared to ROG Strix BIOS. A lot of the things are named differently. I tried messing with the DLVR voltage here. Where is it? Yeah, this. Anytime I messed with the DLVR voltage, the system totally locked up. The CPU ran at 400 megahertz, which is apparently by design. They implemented this so if you aren't an overclocker, if you aren't below like 20 degrees Celsius, the system just locks up on ASRock for some reason. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to dive into voltages with you guys. I really would have liked to. What I usually would do when it comes to voltage on Arrow Lake is lower the VRM voltage to 1.4. And I think out of the box, it's like 1.6, 1.7. And all that does is just increase your multi-core wattage by like a lot. And I found that decreasing that to 1.4 actually just gives you lower temps and better performance in multi-core workloads. And also gaming, just lower temperatures. But it's whatever. I couldn't really get to do that with ASRock here. But a few of the things that are very important are you're going to want to go to CPU overclocking. And if you learn nothing else from today, what you need to know is get that NGU and die to die, these two right here. Get these to 3 to 3.1 gigahertz at the minimum. Every Arrow Lake chip should be able to run 3 gigahertz on the die to die and NGU. So make those get up to 3 gigahertz, and you're going to be getting 80% of the way there with all this overclocking nonsense. This is what is holding Arrow Lake back. NGU is next generation Uncore. Die to die is just the die to die, the basically Infinity Fabric equivalent of Intel CPUs. However, this is not tied to memory speed, so you can overclock this much farther than something like Infinity Fabric. So I have mine set to 3.1, which it can go higher than that, or this chip should be able to. I haven't tested it, but we'll test that today. And then the last thing you want to make sure you get up, if I could find it, is the ring frequency. And you should be able to get 4 gigahertz on that. Here it is, the CPU cache. It could be cache, it could be ring. That should be at least 4 gigahertz on Arrow Lake. Some people can get this thing up to 4.4. On my main rig, I can only get it up to 4 gigahertz, and that kind of sucks. It's kind of slow. On this system, I've only put in 4. I haven't tested anything past that, but we'll test it today. I'm kind of strained my voice earlier today. I don't see anyone in the chat yet. But I'm glad that we're being able to do this on stream. I'm sure people will tune in after the stream's over to see kind of what we're working with. But yeah, what we're going to do to start off is we're going to load defaults. And a good idea is actually under the advanced tab on ASRock. And it's probably under tool on Acer's ROG. You can set profiles. So I set a profile for number 2. It's called locked clocks. So I can hit load profile, hit that. If I ever find something that's unstable or accidentally reset my BIOS, and then it goes back and it sets everything back to where it was. So I have all my locked clocks now, 5.4 on the P cores, 4.8 on the E cores. See, it's everything's back. 4 gigahertz on the ring. If I go back over here and go to load defaults, it's going to be everything default. OC tweaker. See, everything's on auto now. So we're going to go load in and go to auto settings. So yeah, it totally just nuked everything. And when we're on auto settings, we're going to test a game. I think we're just going to go into Overwatch. Overwatch seems to scale really well with CPU frequency, CPU cache, DRAM. And we'll go into that, and we're going to test base speed to max OC on the 265K here. Essentially, we're just going to show that once you tune this thing, it's basically a 270K plus, or even better when you tune the die to die farther than that. I still don't see anybody in the chat there. It's okay. We're loading in. Yeah, so far, I really like the I/O of the Z890 Nova here. It's a very strong board. This thing can push 250 watts with only one 8-pin on the CPU. I was surprised with that. The VRM seemed good on this thing, but the BIOS with what you can do with that, I'm not too impressed with what ASRock's offering here over Asus. Let's see, I'm signing in. My pin, I reset my pin. That's right. I've already installed the latest driver, so I don't need to do that. And yeah, let's just load into some Overwatch. So for some reason, out of the box, the fan speeds are super loud, so the fans are just going to be going. I tuned it later. I can show you guys what I kind of like for fan speed later if you're interested, but basically what I do is just turn it down to like 30% unless it gets over like 70 Celsius or something. Because if you're below 70, you really are totally fine. Overwatch, and this thing is mostly on idling like all day. It's a server. Unless we're using it, it's not doing too much. Extreme overclocking tickles my fancy. One day I want to hook up with a chiller to my main rig. Cuban Coffee, what's up? If I had a 24 core Intel, weren't so demanding, I'd do an ITX build again. If you see, okay, so we have, I don't know if you know what this ITX build looks like. When we're loading into the Overwatch, I'll show you guys right quick. Let's see, take the camera off. This is my ITX build down there. Let's see, maybe I could turn on steady shot. So we aren't so, a little bit, we got some IBIS action going now on the camera. Here's my mini PC, okay? It's not big, it's the Encase M1, all right? And when my 265K uses 250 watts, it still doesn't thermal throttle. I was very surprised by that. Very, very surprised. Now, out of the box, it only uses 200 watts. When I overclocked it, it used 50 more. And we didn't actually get any more performance in multi-core. And that's because I can't adjust the voltages. Like ASRock, the ASRock board totally just poops the bed if I try to adjust the voltages there, which is really annoying. Like on Asus, they gave me so much control. I could do whatever I wanted. I don't think we're gonna have game volume for you guys today. Sorry about that. Today's not really about the game though. It's really just about the max FPS and overclock. I do not play Overwatch, so bear with me. I don't even know how to start a game. How do I get heroes? Okay, I don't care. I just want to play. Okay, I see it up there. Play. Quick play. Yeah, I'll be McCree. All right, what are you guys saying? How are you doing, my friend Tech Geek? It's nice to see you. We're overclocking the 265K today. Right now, we're at stock speed. Okay, let me see if I can load up MSI. Oh, this is in full screen. That's annoying. And it's still black up here. Let's see if I can get a benchmark. Control-Shift-C is how I start my benchmark. Gotcha. Benchmarks. It's under, okay. Benchmarks. Gotcha. Okay, so I need to save this one. And we'll start a new one here. Control-Shift-C, Control-Shift-V. You got it. Definitely wouldn't be able to run my 14900K at 5.9 all-core P with an ITX, weaker VRM, RAM OC. Yeah, so this is running 7800 megatransfers. Well, not right now because I reset it, but it was running 7800,000 megatransfers earlier. I hear sound. Okay, that's coming out of that headphone. Let's see. Oh, that's so small up there. It's because we're playing at 4K. I need to adjust the settings. Holy crap. Because on this screen that I'm seeing, it's not doing what it's doing for y'all. My screen up here is just totally blank. Dang it, it's just blank up here. Okay, well, we can't really see the settings. I gotta dial in my settings here. 75 hertz, why is that? We're gonna play at where's 1080p at? We'll play at 1080p. Okay, I'll be removed. I don't care. I gotta dial in my settings here. It's 1920 by 1080. I do not play Overwatch, guys. I'm sorry about my noob. Maybe Overwatch has a FPS cap. I might not be able to test Overwatch. Enjoy my Friday. Okay, go watch my Zen 6 video, sure. I need women on trampolines. The Z890 MSI Godlike's on sale for $950. Yeah, that's way overpriced. Well, that Gigabyte Z890 I shared on my channel is pretty good, I think. Boys, Overwatch is kind of cancer with the way it's running right now. Okay, borderless windowed. Let's do that. Let's do borderless windowed. Can I Alt-Tab now? Okay. We're going to boost this size up for y'all so y'all can see it. And then I actually need to put myself on the other side here. Ah, crap. Oh. There we go. All right, so now y'all can see that FPS in the top left up there. I don't even think to load up Overwatch and change my settings beforehand, so sorry about this. I gotta get these set up. Borderless windowed, frame rate. Just max it. Video reflex. I don't know if that's good for CPU testing. Do they have DLSS in this game? Because if so, I'll turn that on. Where are the settings at? Graphics quality. FSR. Why would you default to FSR when I have a 5070 in here? A restart's required, so I'm gonna have to restart. Okay, let's go ahead and restart. Let's see what y'all are saying. So you have to do 265K versus 270K max overtune. I'm not actually gonna get the 270K anymore. Intel didn't send me one. I decided not to buy one. I decided to buy the 265K beforehand. I'll tell you this, max OC to max OC, 265K is going to be within 5% of the 270K. It's really as simple as that. They're like these same CPUs except for 4 E-cores. That's really it. I posted the most cursed schematic of my main clinkers working around the clock in the general chat. Okay, let me look at it. I'm guessing you're talking about your AI dudes. This is so cursed. Oh my gosh. Is this an AI image you sent? Damage. Okay. We got low settings, DLSS enabled, and we're going to see what kind of FPS we get. We're going to do a benchmark. Oh wait, I guess I can't go into a game. I guess I need to do a training. How do I do training? Is there training? Practice range. That's what I need to do because it needs to be the same map every time if we're gonna actually do this right. Okay. McCree, Cassidy. All right. This is no longer popping up. Okay, there we go. And it's limiting. There's VSync on. Oh my gosh, there's so much in this game. It says VSync's off, but it's capped to 120. Where is it? Video. We're on video. Borderless windowed. Can you guys tell me, is there not a way to just run like unlimited FPX in Overwatch here? Do I have to do full screen to do that? Let's try it. It's still locked to 120. Yep. You totally just did your whole workload is just AI accelerated, brother. Die-to-die interconnect, SoC fabric. Journey of batter bugged x86 instruction through CPU architecture. Nice. Yeah, I don't really know how to unlock the FPS in Overwatch here. Oh my gosh. Okay, just keep that on high then. Frame rate, custom, apply. There we go. Oh man, at low settings, we're gonna reach the FPS cap here. We're actually GPU bound right now. I'm gonna have to turn it. That's crazy, we're GPU bound at 500 FPS. We'll do full screen, 1080p. Yeah, I mean, the limit in this game is 600 FPS, and we're already at 570 without even overclocking. So we're gonna have to choose a different game, sadly. That's great. My PC's too fast for Overwatch. You can see how the die-to-die is visually and literally the fire hose. Yep. I think we're gonna try this game. This game's a good, Fragpunk's a good game to test for CPU benchmark. I like this game. Okay. So yeah, if you guys are just jumping in, we're testing the 265K on the ASRock Z890. Right now it's totally stock. RAM stock, CPU is automatic, like everything is set to auto. We're in the mini PC, and I'm going to show you what my Max OC looks like with this system, and we're gonna see the difference from stock to Max OC. We're just trying to get into a game that's good enough where we won't get bottlenecked by anything. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this live stream. All right. Training base. I would test Marvel Rivals, but the built-in benchmark would be a good idea, wouldn't it? I can test that after this. I'll test that after this. I thought I went to the training base. I need to leave this game. Problem is I don't really play any of these games, these FPS shooters. I used to. Thank you, Real Tech Geek. Became a member again, renewed his membership. Appreciate that. If you guys want to become a member, you get special perks, access to new videos, fun stuff. standard clash, training base. All right, this is what I need here. I just got to check my settings. Let's get to 1080p. Let's get to, why is Intel XES on? I'm confused here. Standard NVIDIA performance. Okay, these are our settings. Menu FPS is fine. It looks super blurry, I'm not gonna lie. Our GPU is at 35% though, so we are CPU bound. What happened to my big gun? Where did that go? We're CPU bound here. I'm gonna start the benchmark. Control-Shift-C should start the benchmark, and let's just shoot some guys for a little bit. It's kind of crazy to see how unpractical CPU benchmarks really are. It's like, look how pixelated it is, brother. Like our GPU, like if you're gonna spend any amount of money on a modern GPU, you're not playing at these low resolutions. I mean, any 50 series card can get you 200 to 300 FPS at 1080p high settings in these games for the most part, or at least medium. There's no reason to run like these super low settings that they do. All right, Control-Shift-V, and let me load in and see if that benchmark completed. Ah, yes, okay. Average 259, 1% low, 192. All right, so that's our FPS with normal, non-overclocked, okay, non-overclocked. Let's take a vote. Do you guys want me to try Marvel Rivals? Or should I just go with Fragpunk for our testing today? It's gonna take more time if I go to Rivals, although it could be worth it. If even one person says they want it, I'll go into Marvel Rivals here. If not, we'll just go back and start tuning. See, even my RAM's at 5600, so this is like really super slow here. Like very ultra slow. Rivals, all right. We're gonna test Rivals. Reluctant Hero, member of the channel, wants me to test it, so we'll go into that. Reluctant Hero, I'm glad you popped in. What else do you want to see from the live stream? I'm gonna show you what I do to Arrow Lake. I gotta boost this table up a little bit. I'm also going to show you some things that I'm not going to do today, but that I would have on my main Asus rig. There's a lot of settings on the ROG BIOS, especially with voltage, that just work. And for some reason on this ASRock board, they're just like totally restrictive. Anytime I try to mess with the voltage on here, it restricts my CPU to 400 megahertz, makes everything super slow. And I looked that up, and the reason for that is it's built for extreme overclockers. If your CPU is not below 20 Celsius or whatever it is, it just totally locks up. It's really messed up. With ROG, with Asus, Republic of Gamers, you totally just are able to do whatever you want. So if you're looking for extreme overclocking, ASRock may not be the board for you, sadly, just from my experience. The cool thing is here, none of this is sponsored. I bought all this stuff myself, so I'm just gonna say what I think. You know, there's no reason for me to pander for a certain brand. Okay, we're in Rivals. We're in Rivals here. Let's see. We're going into Rivals. With prices increases about Intel MSRP, I'm torn between sticking with my 14600K or selling it for getting 250 or 270. Yeah, Reluctant Hero, it really just depends. Like, why are you upgrading? Is it for, you know, is it going to be workstation rig? Is it going to be a pure gaming rig? Do you need the I/O, Thunderbolts, any of those things? Because to be completely honest with you, max overclock 270K versus max overclock 14600K, if you've both got DDR5, it's probably going to be within 10% or a max of 10%, depending on the game. In some games, to be completely frank, 14600K could still win. It really just depends on latency. If it needs more bandwidth, the 270K is going to win. If it needs lower latency, 14600K is going to win. Depends on the game. Marvel Rivals, I have a feeling, is going to probably need more bandwidth because it's an old Unreal Engine 5 game. Okay, so let's look at our settings here. DLSS, let's go Ultra Performance. Let's turn off frame gen. No limit, FPS cap, that's what daddy likes. Graphics low. I think that should do it. I don't know, did it say that this is going to take effect when I restart the game? Yeah, let's restart the shaders. Okay, I'm going to restart the game just so it applies everything. That's one step you do not want to miss when you're doing testing, because it could just invalidate all your data there. We'll load back in here. ASRock has treated me pretty well. I also like how they don't have some crap software junking up the system like Asus and Gigabyte. Well, I mean, I don't know if you tuned in earlier, it will ask you if you want to download all your drivers when you load up into Windows with ASRock, but it didn't download any software really, it just downloaded the drivers, which it was fine. It was good for me. Hybrid gaming and video editing. To be completely frank, if you're looking at video editing, 270K is the best CPU you could get right now. And integrated Arc iGPU, 24 cores, it's real good. Trust me, it's real good. You have plenty of lanes for NVMe drives. It is worth that upgrade if you're looking for that. It is. It depends on whether if you make money off your video editing. If you do, it's worth it. If you don't, then you could hold out. The ASRock Z890 OCF. It's a really good board I've been looking at. 332 on Newegg. That's a good price. I'm just letting you know. On this board, I saw other people complaining on Reddit about the same issues I'm having. You can really not adjust the voltage. I can't even undervolt my CPU on this board. It like totally locks up if the CPU temperature is not low. It's kind of a shame because I needed to adjust the voltage for this mini ITX build. Like it needed to be cooler. However, for whatever reason, even at 200 watts, the CPU doesn't overheat in that little board, in that little mini PC. It's crazy. I'm actually glad for that. All right, I think we're in the game. Where's this benchmark you told me of? Reluctant Hero? You got to show me where this benchmark's at. Performance tests. Oh. What happened? This doesn't look like low resolution. We're GPU bound here. So this isn't going to work. Are you telling me DLSS Ultra Performance? Okay, we are still at 4K. That is exactly why. Let's go to 1080p DLSS Ultra Performance. As unpractical that as that is, we're going to do that. I'm going to adjust my save location for this so I can actually find it. Let's store it here. Well, change. Okay. All right. My other option is to go to Ryzen, replace the 7800X3D with the multitasking non-X3D chip. I mean, if you're on, I know you have an AM5 board. What's stopping you from just waiting for Zen 6 if you already have DDR5? That's not a bad idea. The reason I upgraded from my 13600K is I have like 64 gigs of DDR4 sitting in that system, and I can sell that for a large amount of money, and it's going to pay for everything. Holy crap, this is so loud. I could hear it on my headphones from there. As you can see, we're CPU bound, 220, 230 FPS right now. Gaber. I just got a Core Ultra 285K with NZXT N9 Z890, trying to see what this chip can do. You're trying to learn something tonight. Well, welcome. We're at stock settings right now, like slow RAM, slow die to die, slow everything, and we're just testing it in Marvel Rivals. You're gonna see a difference in the performance once we overclock it. Should you return it? It depends how much you spent on that 285K, and it depends why did you get it for solely gaming? If you got it for solely gaming, it might have not been the right choice if you spent a lot. But if you do anything else on your PC, if you do video editing, if you run servers, do any kind of multitasking, it's a great chip. All right. Average 189. 189. That seems kind of low for how much settings we turned down. All right. Now it's time to go in the BIOS, boys. I'm going to show you guys what you should do right off the rip. If you learn nothing else from tonight, just do this, what I'm about to do in the BIOS here, because this will get you like 90% of the way there. So to get into the BIOS, you're just going to restart, okay? Once you restart, you're just going to hit delete repeatedly on your keyboard. So we're doing that. Gaber, if you bought the 285K just for gaming, yeah, you could return it. You could. I think it's a great chip. If you tune it, you're going to be like anywhere from 10% to 20% slower than a 9800X 3D. But you're going to have way better I/O. You're going to have better multi-core. But you are on a dead platform. So, you know, if you bought it for more than a 9800X 3D, it's like, yeah, you might want to return it. Or you could start getting into multi-core work like video editing. It's a cool thing to do. Okay, we're getting into the BIOS here. All right, I'm gonna lower this camera a little bit. I just realized it's kind of pointing up high. All right, okay, boys. So this is what the Z890 BIOS is going to look like off the rip on ASRock. Most of the BIOS you get into is gonna look like this. What you're gonna wanna do is go into advanced mode. Okay, so just click that, and now you can actually tune things to your liking. A lot of the time, what you're going to want to do is go to this tab called OC Tweaker. Could be something called something else like, I don't know, overclocking mode. It's usually going to have OC on it, right? And what we're going to do is go to CPU config. And if you learn nothing else from tonight, watch the three main things you're going to need to adjust on Intel Arrow Lake is the CPU cache, that's the ring speed. So we're going to start off at 4 gigahertz, okay? That's a very solid speed for you. You could also adjust the min cache ratio to be equal to the max, so it's always at the max speed. I'm not going to do that because this is a server build and I don't want it always burning energy. It's literally on 24/7. The next thing is NGU, next generation Uncore. That one you should at least be able to, at the very minimum. Like if your chip is garbage, you should get like 3 gigahertz. This chip, I've tested 3.1. I know it's totally stable. I haven't tested anything above that, but we will tonight. So we're gonna get 3.1. And this is very also important, die to die. You should at least be able to get 3 gigahertz on that too. Like 270K, 250K, they run at 3 gigahertz on that. We're pushing that to 3.1. It's no biggie. Now, another thing, especially if you do content creation, is the graphics frequency. This is Intel Arc Graphics. At stock, it runs at like 1900 megahertz or 2000. You should be able to boost this up to 2.4 gigahertz, no issue. Like, not a big issue at all. However, on this dumb ASRock board, it won't let me. It says I have to go mesh with some voltage, and I tried doing exactly what it said, and it did not work. It will not let me adjust this frequency on ASRock. Very annoying. On Asus, it just works. So it's annoying. I'm just going to leave it at stock. It's not going to affect our results today. I will probably look into it. Other than that, what I personally like to do for max smoothness, and smoothness is a big thing, is instead of the P-core ratio, because it's going to have like 2 cores clocked to like 5.5, a few clocked to 5.3, some clocked to 5.2. I'm just going to do all core, because all core will make all your cores equal. All your cores are going to be the same speed, so if it bounces around the game on different cores, you're going to be totally fine. Your FPS is going to be stable, no dips. And so I go 5.4 on the P cores. On the E cores, I do all core, and I do 4.8. Just totally locked. Like, these are not dipping. That's where we're staying, okay? Did I update the BIOS? No. Wait, yes. Yeah, I did update the BIOS. Yes, I did that day one. I think I did that before I adjusted any settings, actually. I did update the BIOS. It was very late. It was like at 2 a.m. that night, so I think I forgot, but I definitely did it. So yeah, 5.4 P cores, 4.8 E cores locked, 4 gigahertz cache, 3.1 die-to-die in NGU. And you can get higher than all those, but that's what I'm doing right here. And then the next step is your RAM. So we're going to RAM here. You could simply just load an XMP. You've probably all done this before. I'm going to profile 1. That's DDR5 7600 CL36. And then and under frequency tab here, I can actually overclock that further, and I'll just select 7800. I tested 86, I tested 79, I tested 8000. It booted with all of them. So it even booted with 8000 on this kit. It just was not stable under my memory test. So I'm gonna do 7800 there. And gear ratio, this is important. Even if you just enable XMP, you need to go to gear ratio and select gear 2. If you don't select gear 2, it could default to gear 4, and then you're getting half the bandwidth as you would have. So my memory controller is running at half the speed of my DRAM. So in this case, it would be what, like 3600 or whatever half of that is. Yeah, I don't know. It would be 3900. Yeah, 3900. Okay, so my IMC is running at 3900 megahertz. My DRAM is running at 7800. And that's about it. That's all you have to do right off the rip. Once you test all of these things and you make sure that it's actually stable, then you can run a memory benchmark, run all those things, and you know that it's stable. You can go back into the BIOS, tune the sub timings of the RAM, or boost the RAM clock even more, Once it fails on you, you go back and you can change the sub timings. And basically, once you get crashes is when you know, like, yeah, that's as far as I can go. At this point, when you boost everything up, you're going to have to change things individually, one by one, or you won't know what is unstable. So if I go back into the BIOS and I change die to die and also change P core clock, it's like if we get a crash after that, which one was it that caused the crash? You won't know. So let's go ahead and save changes. Okay. What are you guys saying? I did update the BIOS. Hey Steak, it's Framerate X and not Frog. Have you updated the BIOS? I did update the BIOS, guys. I updated it. I updated it 2 days ago. I'm not sure how much that even helps Core Ultra. If anything, it probably loses performance with BIOS updates. I think microcode. I was testing my system over here on the right, my main rig, and it actually lost performance in multi-core with a microcode update. And I was like, what the heck? And I think it's because my tune with DLVR is kind of just out of the wind. Intel kind of patched that. So multi-core is worse than it used to be, like at launch with Core Ultra, but gaming efficiency is better, essentially is what you need to know with that, with the DLVR. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back into Fragpunk. It shouldn't take long. And if we look, I can already feel it feels a lot more snappy. 7,800,000 mega transfers in Gear 2 on this little 2DIMM board, CL36. Okay, so it's like not the fastest RAM you've ever seen, but it's pretty quick. All right, the RAM over here, my main rig's 48 gigabytes, and it's in 8533,000 mega transfers in Gear 2, but it's CL42. Believe it or not, cast latency doesn't matter as much on DDR5 as long as you have high mega transfers. DeBauer tested this for himself, and he found that the more bandwidth you have on DDR5, the better, even if it has a little bit more latency on that cast latency. Especially when it comes to path tracing and stuff. Any predictions on how high the 189 FPS will go on this MiniMosi? I'm going to guess we're going to get anywhere from 10 to 20% gain, maybe even 25% gain, because most of the gain you're getting is from that die to die. Also, our RAM was like super slow right there. Okay, I don't care about that. All right, just testing, make sure our settings are the same. Didn't change it up on me. Performance. Everything looks the same. All right, was DLSS the same there? Performance, okay. Let's see. I gotta load up MSI. I pressed G to pull this up, so that's why I was doing that. Okay. Starting the benchmark. Dude, it feels smoother to me. I don't remember what the FPS here was. Do you guys remember? It's still very cool. I'm surprised we're using 120 watts though. Like that overclock, that all-core overclock without the voltage, it tweak, it really makes it use a lot of power. All right. I stopped the benchmark. I don't know why it puts me in a game. I was in training. Let's take a look at that benchmark. Oh, see? Holy crap. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see this here, bro? We went from 259 to 341. And then you have Hardware Unboxed saying, overclocking making no difference. Are you kidding me? We did it here live. You guys saw it. Okay? One minimum 1% low. It wasn't as big of a gain, but averages were huge. How much percentage is that? Holy crap. Okay, let's get out of here. We'll go try the CAN benchmark on Marble Rivals, but see that overclock there, that gets you like 14900K or close to right under 9800 X3D performance, like maybe 7800 X3D, but with 20 cores, baby. Ah man, it's great. People are clowning on Arrow Lake. They just don't know how to use it, man. So okay, let's look at this. 341 over 259.2. 31.5%. You tune that die to die, you tune that RAM, you lock the P cores, and Arrow Lake is a beast, bro. And it was smooth. It was seriously smooth there. So 31.5%. Oh, I accidentally just went back, but yeah, 31.5%. And then the averages, we have 203.8, 192.6. We only got 5.8% on the average, or on the 1% lows. Maximum, let's see the maximum, 550, 449, 22. Yeah, so average got 30%, minimums got 5.8%. Pretty good result. Let's load into Marble Rivals CAN benchmark. I haven't looked at the chat in a while. Let's see. That's pretty insane gain. Yeah, I know. Like, the thing is with Arrow Lake, you really do get like the best of both worlds. Like you get like the productivity, the good iGPU, all the 8 PCIe lanes, an NPU for what is good that is. And then if you tune it, you really get very good gaming performance. And the efficiency is kind of there too. It really is, especially if you can undervolt it. I wish I could on this ASRock board. My main rig's undervolted. It uses like 80 watts to 90 watts instead of the 120 that we get there. Wouldn't that be an 82% increase? No, it was like 35%. We'll see how this one goes. Let's see. Ultra performance, low. Okay, that's what we need in our life. See how this goes. Why is it using 70% of my GPU here? It wasn't using that much before, was it? It is higher, but I don't think it's a lot higher. Maybe it is though. We definitely are CPU bound. I mean, we're only pulling 110 watts on the 5070, so. From this far, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too pixelated. The trees look kind of bad, but so Planner Channel is saying you can divide CAS by megatransfers a second by 2, and that's basically DDR5 equivalent for latency. I'm not so sure. Some things just need bandwidth. When it comes to ray tracing, when it comes to an iGPU, even if it has a little bit higher latency, it just needs more bandwidth. Okay, so average 235. You've seen it here first on stream. Like, you see it right there. The Arrow Lake, you know from reviews that these tech tubers just put in the PC, okay? They just put it in the PC, they let it run the benchmarks, is not the same Arrow Lake I've been using for the past 6 months or however long it's been. You up that die to die, you up the clocks, you give it quick RAM. It's a totally different product. Totally different. Like, in a totally, like, it's like a generation or two ahead of where base is. It's crazy how low those clocks were that they launched. Like, Intel just launched this thing totally nerfed. It's crazy. And seeing this gain, I mean, let's go to the file here and see exactly what percentage it was that we gained. It didn't save anything. Oops. What was it? Did anyone look? What was it before? And people are saying 24% gain. What number was it before? I think someone put it in the chat. 189. It was 189. And now we're at 235. What was the 1% low? I can go back on live stream here and look. All right. We're 189, 143. You don't see that? Focus. You know what? I'll post it in the Discord for you boys. Join the Discord if you aren't in the Discord. It will be there. But we jumped up from 189 on the average. Let's compute that right quick. And what was the number? 235. So 235 or 189. 24%. Just like, it took what? It took like 5 minutes, bro. And then the 1% low, we were at 143 before. And we're at 160. And that was 11.8%. So there you go. There you ding dong go. That was it. So I told you that's going to get you like 90% of the way there. Just doing die to die, just doing your RAM, locking your clocks. Very smooth experience. You know that Frog would say your overclock results are subjective. Dang. I don't know what he would think about that overclock. He would think that's black magic. Okay, so let's say that you just overclocked your system and you get into Windows. You can't just go straight into a game, right? Because you don't actually know if your overclock is stable. So what you need to do is download this program called OCCT, okay? Download OCCT. And once you download this, you're going to run their CPU and memory benchmark. You run that for 1 minute straight, which give it isn't a long time, but it should be long enough to know whether or not your system would be stable, ideally. And every time you make a change in the BIOS, you're going to come back to Windows here and make that change and run this test. Okay, so we're going to hit stability test. You see CPU and RAM. I'm going to hit start. You just have to wait 10 seconds if you don't own it. I don't own this software. I just use it for free. Once those 10 seconds is up, you hit start. And it's going to start the benchmark. And it's stressing my RAM out and my CPU to Kingdom Come here. I know it says 1.58 volts on my CPU. That's no issue on Arrow Lake. The voltage that it reads and the voltage the cores actually get are totally different. The VRMs regulate that, the DLVR, just so nothing like 14th gen can happen again. And that's why you actually need to adjust that. That's actually way too high of a voltage. I want to drop that to 1.4 on the VRM, but I can't on ASRock, as far as I know. That's what I did on my Asus board, and it made Tim's way colder. But as you can see, we're drawing 214 watts here on this little mini PC, and it's only at 85. Okay, 85 it's getting kind of hot, but like for this long, that's crazy on that little mini PC. It can totally do that. Not for like forever, obviously. It is, we're talking about throttling a little bit. But you just wait 1 minute. We haven't got any errors. Oh, it's been 1 minute. Okay, so we're good. You could run that for like 1 hour if you wanted to. I'm good with 1 minute. That's my conviction. And if it didn't crash, then I'm like, cool. I'll just go straight back into the BIOS now, and I'll up my clocks. And that's how you overclock. Yep, frame rate X is here. What's up, Chad? We just found that we got a 20 to 30% gain just by tweaking a few things with Arrow Lake here in the BIOS. It's no biggie. It's really no biggie. Not that Hardware Unboxed would ever acknowledge that or anything. And if you think about it, if you think about where we just had stock performance, right? And what like Hardware Unboxed test show, what like Linus test show, if you add 20% on top of stock, it's like we're pretty close to a 9800 X3D. But you have 20 cores and an Arc-eye GPU. That's the cool thing. I wish I had a 9800 X3D to test for you guys. I just never was able to pick one up. They're a little bit too expensive for me. Okay, we're back in the BIOS here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my OC tweaker mode and load in my locked clocked BIOS because that had my fan profile. I'm getting annoyed at my computer, like fans being so loud. We'll load that. And this is the exact same settings we just had. It's just that I have some things enabled like ASPM, which is a power saver for idle states. And that's very important for something like a server PC. Another thing you want to do when you go in the BIOS is make sure resizable bar is enabled. On this, most modern boards, it's enabled by default. And this should be enabled, actually. I guess I didn't save that, but I'll enable that later. That's the ASPM. It helps servers use less power. But that's not important right now. We're going into CRAM config, or CPU config. And you could mess with the E-core and the P-core here. I don't really know how much more performance I'm going to be able to squeeze. Just for giggles, let's just try 5 gigahertz on the CPU, not 5.4. We're going to try 5 gigahertz. I don't think it's going to be able to do this. My main one couldn't, but maybe we won the silicon lottery. And yeah, it said all those things. It's just fan adjustments. To be completely honest with you guys, this live stream may end when I'm doing one of these because this board doesn't have a reset CMOS button, which is another thing that mini ITX board you would really want that to have, because then I'm going to have to open this thing up and take the battery out to clear the CMOS unless it has a built-in function to do that for me. So if that happens and we just get blue screened and it won't boot, we're going to have to end the live stream, and that really sucks. I purposefully have not pushed this system hard enough yet, because I do not want to open it back up and clear the CMOS and everything. I'm seeing the Windows screen over there, but it's not on my TV. And it's just not on the TV here. But let's load up OCCT. I guess I don't need to see anything. Oh, another thing you can do is get hardware info. It's a really good program. And then we can look at the clocks here. Let me go look at those. Wow. This 265K can do 5 gigahertz. My other one couldn't load into the Windows with 5 gigahertz, and this one can. That's pretty exciting. And let's run this memory test here. 5 gigahertz on these little E-cores, brother, with the same IPZ as Raptor Lake. That's crazy. The crazy thing is all these channels used to advocate for overclocking, but they changed the script. Remember, they used to encourage 5 gigahertz all core with Skylake. I wasn't even looking at these channels during that time, but I'm sure they did. I mean, I wouldn't say Hub gives bad information. It's just that they seem biased, and they seem like they purposefully won't do things that they're like. Why wouldn't you just put a little overclock on the system and test it if people are really interested? Are we actually doing this right now at 5 gigahertz? I can't see it from here, guys. I gotta go look over here. What I think is happening is the E-cores are taking power away from the P-cores, and our clocks are very low right now. The clocks are lower than it was. We're actually using less power. We're only using 800. I want to load up Cinebench R23 right quick and see kind of what performance we're getting right now. But hey, it is not crashing with these E-cores running at 5 gigahertz. My main rig would crash. So this is better silicon quality than my main 265K. That's good to see. I think it is a new stepping. This is very annoying, dude. This TV's not displaying it. Like, that sucks. Can I just like turn it on and off? Is that gonna... It's the thing, like dealing with TVs. Cinebench. Is it still running? I can't even tell from here. Okay. So what I would do, okay, so like if it passes OCCT, and then you can run Cinebench. You don't really want to run Cinebench unless it passes OCCT, because OCCT will also stress out your memory. And Cinebench, like, you may or may not get a crash with Cinebench, even if it's not stable. Okay, let's do a little test right quick. I'm gonna go look at this. All right, it did one. How much is that? 30, 33. So it actually was 34 before I did this E-core overclock. So it seems like the E-cores can do 5 gigahertz on the CPU. It just takes away power from the P-cores, which makes it actually worse. But I almost wonder, in gaming, if this is going to make it better. So what we're going to do is leave this thing clocked at 5 gigahertz on all 12 E-cores. Very cool stuff. Like, that is actually exciting. 5 gigahertz on 12 E-cores. Dude, like this CPU, if I could switch out this CPU for my main rig one, just because it has better E-cores, it would be like kind of cool, because that it might actually be able to feed enough voltage on my main rig. But no, I'm not going to do that. What we're going to do now is go into the BIOS and tune the die-to-die a little bit higher and see if we can get even a little bit more performance out of this 265K. So maybe it'll pop up on my screen up there. Yeah, the E-cores are locked at 5 gigahertz. Mr. Kurowski, we actually overclocked the 265K. From stock, it gained 20 to 30% depending on the game. And it was just no biggie. It's just like, yeah, we just destroyed its performance. I won't be happy if I start seeing 270 plus CPUs outperform my 285K. Well, I hate to break it to you, Chad, they kind of are, because the 270K, this is annoying, dude. It's not on my TV. Okay, now it's on my TV. I think I had my TV turned off for a little bit, but it's whatever. Okay. So another thing I could do is, if I wasn't in a mini ITX build, what happened? I think it's this Elgato capture card. It's just like pooping the bed right now. Both screens are actually off. I guess what I'll do is just turn off my computer here manually. Trying to load back up in the BIOS. I don't know if it just crashed. I don't think it crashed. We were in the BIOS. I've never seen it just crash in the BIOS like that. Plus, it did Cinebench OCCT, so there's no way. Okay. I think it's the capture card that messed up. So what I could do next is try adjusting this P-core frequency. But to be honest with you guys, in this mini PC case with how little cooling I have and airflow, I think that it's just not going to be worth it. We're already voltage constrained. We're doing voltage groups with all-core with the 5 gigahertz E-core. I really wish I could do undervolts on this stuff. I think it would make it perform a lot better. Like, I could get better multi-core on this CPU than my main rig just because of the silicon quality of this 265K. It's really good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to test die-to-die speed. Cache speed is also huge. Like, you want to get your ring speed up on the CPU, but I'm going to increase die-to-die. I'm going to try 3.3 gigahertz, and we're going to do OCCT. And just for consistency's sake, I'm going to leave these at 4.8 because I don't want that like riding too close to the sun and giving me errors. I'll go back to testing 5 gigahertz E-cores later. So we got the die-to-die at 3 gigahertz here. Yeah, the load line, I don't like messing with load lines. On Raptor Lake, I used IA. I used the IA voltage and the DC. And then on Aerolike, I like messing with the VRM input voltage. but I can't get the input voltage to work. I don't know how to, I could do just a offset on the P&E cores, but I don't even want to try that because I looked up a Reddit forum and people were saying it does the same thing on ASRock boards. It just limits your CPU to 400 megahertz if you aren't like really low temperature, below 20 Celsius. Man, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna go grab a drink over there. Okay, well, we can't do 3.3 die to die. That gives us our answer there, and that's pretty sad. I'll try 3.2, but if we got a blue screen right off the rip there, I don't think that's going to be good. That's not a good sign. So is the silicone in the, it's silicon, not silicone, but it's okay. People call me the silicone steak. I'm the silicon steak. Is it superior in the 270K Plus? I assumed they were just tuned better. So this is not the 270K Plus. This is the 265K, all right? I don't know if the silicon is higher bend in the 270K Plus. Based on the clock speeds, it shouldn't be bend any better. If it was bend better, I think they would be calling it a 290K Plus. But I can't answer that question because I don't have one. I wonder if you can lower the E cores and get faster P cores. You could do that, but tests have shown that actually on Arrow Lake, if you have low E core speed, you get low FPS. You need to have high E core speed. Doesn't look like we're loading back in, so I'm going to go ahead and just reset my PC again here with my little foot. All right, we're loading back in. See, we got 13 people. We just crashed. We ran the die to die too close to the sun. We blew up like a dying star. But the 265K is all right. We're just going to load back in the BIOS. I'm going to tune it back down to 3.2. And if we don't get 3.2, then we know 3.1 is the limit. And essentially what I'm doing here, this is how you tune. Like, this is the BIOS game. You go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's really important you do a test like OCT, CCT, or you're just going to be in games playing with your friends and you're going to get a crash and it's going to be annoying. So, okay, 3.2. Let's do that one thing at a time. We're testing. Like, you do your first overclock that you like, if you know a chip, if you know like a skew, you're like, I know it should be able to at least do this. That's where you start. And then you start fine tuning, okay? You don't just start from the bottom and go 2.3 gigahertz on the die-to-die, 2.4, and just, you know it can do 3 at least. So start with that. I'm gonna grab some water over here. It's a good thing that this time when we're tuning, we actually have the BIOS on the screen with the capture card, because last time I tuned, it wasn't picking up. Man, I was thirsty. Yeah, I mean, I could increase the max P core if I increase the AC load line, but that's going to dramatically increase the voltage and the voltage under load, and then the wattage. And my little dinky cooler on there is not going to be able to handle that. What I really want to do is lower the voltage and raise the clocks, like do an undervolt and raise the clocks. And that is the gold, like that is like the king of overclocking. This ASRock board isn't letting me change the voltage. It's annoying. And that's crazy because this is a good bin chip. So we're at 3.2 gigahertz. My 265K, my main rig locks out at 3.2. So I think this, if it passes this test, this is the limit. If it doesn't pass this test, 3.1 was the limit. E-cores aren't really for gaming. Okay, so Yeah, I mean you're totally right, but the E-cores in Arrow Lake, the IPC, the instructions per clock, are just they have just as much IPC as Raptor Lake or like something like a 14900K P core. The way you measure IPC is clock speed to clock speed. So a 5 gigahertz E core that's one thread has the same amount of IPC as a 14900K P core at 5 gigahertz when it's single threaded. When it's not, when it doesn't have, um, what is it called? SMT enabled. Okay? According to Intel, at least. I think that adds a lot of latency on Arrow Lake because of how the dies are clustered. All the P cores aren't next to each other. Yeah, you're definitely right, but it does lower the temperatures by a lot. If I was running 200 watts on that 13600K I have, I guarantee you I'd be running like 110 Celsius. Like this thing's a lot cooler. Okay, well it looks like it can do 3.2 on the die-to-die. It's not bad. It's not the best I've seen. I've seen people have been able to do like 3.8 on that. I've gotten nowhere close to that on both the chips I bought. But don't worry, boys. We're going to tune this thing to max OC, and once we get that, we're going to go back into those games. It might take us an hour to do it. It might take us 2 hours to do it. But once we get in those games, we're going to see. We're going to see baseline. We're going to see dirty max overclock. Or I mean, maybe not max, but dirty overclock. And then max OC to balls to the wall overclock. And what my prediction is, like we got 20 to 30% with dirty overclock. I think we're going to get maybe another 5%, if that, with the dirty overclock or the max OC. If that, maybe only like 3%. It's kind of like hardly worth it. But it just gives you the peace of mind that you're like your max power. Am I going to buy 270K? Nope. I decided not to. I decided all I need was the 265K for a lot cheaper. I got my 265K for 273, but it came with a power supply, 750 watt, and a free game. So it's kind of like $200 if you think about it, which is a great deal, especially since that 270K plus came at 350, which is, I kind of was expecting it to come out higher than MSRP because they said starting at, and I was like, the KF model is going to be at that. Okay, so NGU, let's just do 3.4. That's what my 265K can do. And let's see if that works. If you guys are enjoying the live stream, enjoying the channel, become a channel member, or at least consider it. It's only $1 a month. If you're signing up on an iPhone, it's going to be $1.50. So go on your computer and sign up. And you get special little perks like the little badges by people's name. You get exclusive episodes, videos, sometimes exclusive early looks to videos. Yeah, it's a cool little perk. I wonder if die-to-die can go higher if ring bin down is disabled. Maybe. I don't think it's related to that, actually. I don't think so. The die-to-die is its own little chip. It's built on like 20 or 40 nanometer. It kind of sucks. It built on like 20. It's an older Intel process they built it on. Okay, so we booted with 3.4 on the next generation Encore clock. Yeah, and you also get emojis like the Real Tech Geek's doing. You get cool emojis like this Moore's Law is dead as a clown emoji. Okay, stability test, CPU and RAM, let's do it. I'm sure there's going to be people out there saying OCCT is for noobs, it's garbage. I only use MemTest 65 or Prime 65 or whatever it's called. I tried those. I found this to be, yeah, like more noob friendly, and it worked for me. So errors. See, we're getting errors right off the rip. Very helpful. We know 3.4 on this NGU is not going to cut it. So honestly, that kind of sucks. I can try to run 3.3. 3.3 should be good. No, dude, I'm not doing that. This is a server build. It needs to be efficient. It is a portable gaming PC. I'm actually going to make a whole different BIOS setting for when I want to use this thing mobile. Like I'm going to make it well, I guess I can undervolt it. I'm going to try. I'm going to do more research and see if I can try to undervolt this thing without liquid cooling. And because I want it to be like using like 60 watts when I'm gaming on the go with my portable battery. I'm going to undervolt my 5070, use like 150 watts, and then that portable battery lasts all day when we're on the go. Alrighty. See, the BIOS game is so fun. Don't you guys just love seeing this beautiful screen? .3. You could adjust the voltages of these different things. Like let's just say like, oh, I'm so close to getting NGU 3.4. You could go into the settings and adjust that voltage, crank it up a little bit. I don't really want to increase voltages for higher clocks. I've never been about that life. I've always been an undervolts kind of guy. Either it can do it at auto voltage, or I decrease the voltage and it can do it, or it can't do it at all and I just lower the clocks. I don't like higher power consumption like for that. It's just not worth it, especially on something like a CPU. GPU, maybe you could justify it because you will get higher, linearly higher performance with GPUs and clock speed usually and core count. Do I have a VNNAON voltage setting? It's just auto. I just keep those on auto, just like I said. I'm a proud noob to use OCCT, real tech. A real reluctant hero, sorry. Yeah, man, me too. Me too. Like, Planner Channel, Cobb, I know you're very, how would I say it? Elite overclocker computer guy. I don't want to spend that much time in the BIOS fine tuning it because I can tell you that like it's not going to give you that much more performance. Maybe in all core workloads, if you can cool it, if you ump the voltage, it could help. For gaming, I don't really see it, and it's just a nightmare. I don't want to go tune all that, especially on my secondary server rig. And my main rig, I did mess with some voltages. I increased die-to-die voltage, and I found that it just led to more instability, so I just kept it auto, kept it at 3.2 gigahertz. Let's start here. I did increase my RAM memory controller voltage on my main rig to get to 8533. I increased it by 50 millivolts, and that's totally fine. Looks like this might work. OCC taught me that AM4 absolutely hates 4 DDR4 sticks that are XMP'd. Yeah. Yeah, the memory controller on Zen has just not really ever been too great. I had a Zen part this last year that couldn't do 6,000. Like it literally, the memory controller was not good enough to do 6,000. It had to do like 5,200. That's the best it could muster. Okay, I think we're about to make it to 1 minute. 3.3 on the X NGU. Okay, so this chip could do 3.2 die to die, 3.3 on the NGU. We're gonna try the ring ratio now. That one's also very important. If you want to increase your clocks, don't look at the P cores, don't look at the E cores, look at the die to die, look at the NGU, and look at the ring on Arrow Lake, okay? Not talking on Raptor Lake. Raptor Lake, yes. P cores, overclock them to the moon. Arrow Lake, look at those three things first, and then you can look at your P cores and your E cores. Because if you don't feed the cores, it doesn't matter how fast they're running. They aren't going to get anything work done. Mash and delete, mash and delete. My theory is if the ring is boosting up and down, this could put strain on the die-to-die to connect to it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really see a connection between the ring and die-to-die. Anything I've done or the videos I've watched on it. So my CPU can't even do 4.1 on my main rig, but screw it. I'm just going to try 4.2. And if we blow up, we blow up. Which is sad because like a 14900K can get like 4.9 on the ring. I tried using XTU. I like using the BIOS. Personally, I just like it better. XTU won't work on my Arrow Lake systems. It says I need to change some BIOS settings, which I changed, and then it still didn't work, so I just said screw it. You need a whole different XTU program to run on Arrow Lake than Raptor Lake. I agree on Raptor Lake, it's pretty nice. Okay, so it's not running on my TV. Okay, now it is. I'm surprised we even booted with 3.3 or 4.3, I'm not gonna lie. One thing to note is if you up this ring ratio, your memory latency will go down and your memory bandwidth might go up. Like if you do a test in, what's it called? AIDA64, a memory test, increasing your ring ratio will help that, even if your RAM speed doesn't change. I found that when I was testing Arrow Lake. Okay, I'm going to be very pleased that this can do 4.3 on the ring, because the ring affects your speeds greatly, especially for gaming on Arrow Lake here. I'm going to be very pleased if it can do this. Okay. We got a Windows error. It ought to be able to do 4.2, or is this 4.2? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna drop it by 100 megahertz, and it ought to be able to do it. If you get any errors, just go ahead and drop the clocks. It's not worth it. One thing to note is if you guys decide, hey, I'm gonna get one of these Arrow Lake systems, use my affiliate links down below. Okay, it really helps the channel. Like that's just like you giving me a donation almost for free. It's really great. So always use the affiliate links for anything you buy computer related if you're buying it off Amazon, because I only have affiliate links for Amazon. Okay, so 4.2 is a little bit too much. 4.1 should be just right. And we'll try that. After that, the thing I would do is I would go to RAM tuning. And I don't honestly know where it's at in the ASRock BIOS here. Oh, here it is. And then Cobb, help me out with this. It's actually been months since I did this, but I believe there's one figure here that I can boost, like increase the time on it, and it actually gives me performance. I can do it to 600 or 60,000 or something. I might need to go back on my main rig well, I can't because it's running the stream here. I had a whole chart. I might have to pull up a chart again for the sub timings, but this can increase your latency by like 2 nanoseconds if you do the sub timings at least, or maybe even 5 nanoseconds. I know TREFI is something I'd probably adjust. There's one setting here that if you increase it, TREFI, Yeah, 65,535. And I think if you increase this, pretty much any DDR5 kit can do 60,000 as far as I know. It will lower your latency if you do that. But I'm going to wait to do that because we have to test everything individually or we won't know what is the issue when we're having issues. And that just saves you a lot of time in the long run there. Let me look that up on my phone. TREIF. Okay, so it's a refresh interval. That's what that thing is, and the less you refresh it, the less latency you'll have. But you have to refresh it or you're going to get corrupted memory, I think. I should download ADA64 and try to see like what kind of latency we're getting on this system. I'll do that once we get max OFC. How about that? And see what we're doing there. Man, OCCT is my favorite game. Oh, dang it. Okay, so this one's limited to 4 gigahertz on the cache as well, sadly. On the ring. That sucks. If Arrow Lake could clock its ring like Raptor Lake could, it'd be a lot faster, I think. But who knows, maybe the die-to-die still wouldn't be able to keep up. I can see why people wouldn't want to do stuff like this, though. Like, if you just buy an X3D, you don't have to do any of this. You just go in the BIOS once, enable XMP, enable resizable bar, and then you're done. But what you guys are going to see is like that dirty clock, the dirty overclock I did in the beginning is going to get us like almost all the way there to the point where you really just don't even have to do this part that I'm doing here. We're going to have to turn down the cache ratio to 4. That's the best it can muster. I'm gonna keep E-cores at 4.8 for now. And then DRAM timing, we're gonna go do that and then turn that on. Refresh interval. Let me look up what this kit can do. Okay, we're gonna set this to 65,000. Does anyone, should I adjust that as well? The refresh interval X9. I don't actually know. I'm looking at a Reddit thread, TWR. I don't think these are going to be applicable to me. Yeah, I know the SFC scan. I do that if I think I have any issues with Windows, but it's fine. I shouldn't. You don't study DDR5. That's totally cool. Yeah, I'm looking at a thread right now. I adjusted all of these subtimings on my main system and got it to get really low. Like I got below 60 nanoseconds, I think, or like right below, like low 60s on Arrow Lake. I just don't want to adjust all of these little ones because I don't remember they didn't have a big difference, but this one at the bottom has a huge difference on your latency. So I'm going to adjust that one. 65,000 should be good on this kit. I tested this kit before, but we'll see because I don't know if I tested it with the 78,000 transfers overclock. Don't you just love the black box though? Look at it. It's not focusing. Oh, also, if you guys are interested, I will be selling my 13600K, my 64 gigabytes of DDR4, and my Mini ITX Z690 motherboard. If any of you guys want that, I'll probably list it on Reddit or on my local Facebook Marketplace. But if you guys want it first, you can pick it up. And let's do that OCC test. I'm thinking like 150 for the 13600K. I'll cover shipping, like 200 for the motherboard, and then for the RAM, it is 64 gigabytes of DDR4, so probably like 300. I might do a discount though if I could sell them all together. It'd be easier. I'll do them as pieced out or together, either or. Okay, Reluctant Hero, be honest with me, man. After seeing the results with our overclocking today and seeing the 265K, like, do you wish you would have picked this up for the price I got it for, like with all the little bundle, or are you still glad that you waited for the 270K? I want to know. You got 5.2 gigahertz on your 14900K rating. That's insane, brother. All right, well, I think this is it. I think this is max overclock for us here. We tuned one setting in the DRAM. I already know 78,000 is the best we can do on this RAM because I tested it off stream. Let's see if we can get the 8064 download. I'm not paying for this. I just want to get the trial, if that's a thing. Could I get this? It's going to make me buy it. We could do the memory benchmark. Well, yeah. I don't have a product key. Okay. Ah, this is what I need. Let's see. Oh, only 119 gigabytes. That's not as good as I thought it would be. Since we have the trial version, we don't get a lot of the info that we need. 76.2. So it's like, okay, it's not the best thing out there, okay? This isn't QDIM memory. This isn't the top tier, highest memory out there. And I'm going to be completely honest, 76 is not that great. But 120 gigabytes is a lot of memory bandwidth. I can get like 130 something on my main rig because I have QDIM memory, and I can get down to like 64 nanoseconds, but this ain't bad. If we were able to do a little bit more tuning with our sub timings on the DDR, I think we could get down to like 72 nanoseconds maybe. I don't think it's worth it, especially because there could be some instability there. But that's what we're getting with the RAM speeds. So what do you guys think? Should I go back into the BIOS right quick and put those E-cores to 5 gigahertz? Do you think that would increase our FPS, or is that going to lower our FPS? I think I'm going to do it. I want to do that because I want to see if that lowers our FPS. I will go back in the BIOS once again and put them back to 4.8. You're still glad you waited for the 270K. You hate to say it. You want it to fall to $300. You'll bet it happen by fall 26. Yeah, I mean, if Nova Lake comes out, God knows that Arrow Lake's cratering in price. If Nova Lake's in stock. Also Zen 6, yeah. Arrow Lake is gonna be very cheap. The motherboards for Arrow Lake though could be expensive because I feel like they didn't make a lot of motherboards for Arrow Lake because no one was buying anything. So the boards they made right now may look cheap, and they are. But eventually they're going to go up in price because they just didn't make that much. Boards die, CPUs stay alive. You've seen it before. Okay. We're gonna put E-cores to 5 gigahertz because this little chip can do it. Heck yeah. And I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go back into gaming with our Max OC. Before you do anything else, it's a great idea to save this as a profile. I'm just going to call it Max OC. Because if you ever get to the point where you just like change your BIOS settings and it's just not stable, you really are going to wish you did this. You don't see next gen Intel or AMD being announced this year. Yeah, I mean, I kind of right there with you, other than the fact that Litboo on an earnings call said Nova Lake's coming out this year, and that's kind of binding. Like, he would be sued, Intel will be sued if they don't release Nova Lake this year because their CEO said it's coming out this year. Maybe it's going to be a paper launch. You know, what if we just see like 290K, like 5 of them? Maybe it just comes out in laptop. The laptop version's only going to have 28 cores, by the way. It's not going to be the full 52 core. Or maybe it comes out in its full capacity and we're blown away. But I'm just letting you know, unless they delay it, it's coming out. Zen 6 could be next year, and AMD hasn't said anything yet. Okay, let's load up Fragpunk first. Dude, I'm actually really pumped. This thing can do 5 gigahertz on the E-cores. Technically, it could maybe do 5.1. We just haven't tried it. I'm not gonna try though. I don't think I need that in my life. I think we're good at 5. Dang, it's already 11. PS5 price increase is going to ripple through the PC market. It really is, dude. I mean, if you're at that point, if you're paying $900 for a PS5 Pro, you probably are going to consider a PC. Okay, our P cores are still at 5.3, even though the E cores are at 5. I'm excited to see what we get here. See okay, so those rumors, I've seen the recent rumors. You have to understand, what the heck? I went into training. Why is it making me load into a game? You have to understand, those rumors are by Red Gaming Tech. No shade. I actually watch Red Gaming Tech a lot. But he honestly does not have a great track record for performance leaks or anything of that nature. Just being completely honest. You thought Moore's Law is Dead was inaccurate. He's on a whole different level. Like, he is very much a hype channel. He will say all these things. I remember him saying Zen 5 is gonna blow the pants off anything, 40% multi-threaded gain. I remember him saying RDNA 3 was NVIDIA's downfall. I remember him saying, I don't know, probably Arrow Lake was going to be the best thing ever. He just likes to hype stuff up. One thing I did see is he said he was predicting RTX 60 is only going to be 30% faster in raster. And I'm like, yeah, that's one thing I said, 30, 35%. That's all we're going to see there. Okay. We're starting our benchmark. Okay. We gained like 3 FPS. Oh, we gained a lot in the 1% lows though. That might just be up to variance. We didn't run a very long test there, so that could be variance. I think the canned benchmark is going to be our friend for deciding what's variance and not with Marvel Rivals. So it's a good thing we did get a canned benchmark. Let's go ahead and do the math here. So we got 344.8 over 341. We got 1.1% better in the average. And in the lows, we got 283.3 divided by 203.8. 39% better. I think that's just variance. I mean, we did have higher E-core frequencies, but no, I don't think we really got 39% gain there. We'll see with this canned benchmark if the lows are better or not. I mean, NVIDIA could increase RAM capacity. 6070 having 16 gigs isn't out of the ordinary or anything. It should be. Rubin's going to be coming out 2027, late 2027, maybe. So that's not out of the ordinary. What I found interesting was they're going to give the 6070 a 256-bit bus. I was like, really? Okay. I thought, and the 80 class was going to get 320-bit or whatever it was, like what the RTX 3080 had. That's what stood out to me. Settings. Ultra performance, low, okay. I wonder why it never saved to that. Oh. It's been saving to the wrong place. I hate OneDrive. I'm just kicking my feet up now. Let's start this test. 7 gigahertz AM6. Yeah, I really don't think it's going to get 7 gigahertz, guys. I'd love to see it though. What do y'all think? I think this is around the same we were getting before. Pretty close. $500 consoles are almost worth the soldering the RAM and the VRAM and the NAND. You're actually kind of getting right. They're they're right there. Maybe that's why they're increasing prices so people don't start doing that. To me, it's just exciting to get a chip that everyone thinks sucks and it's priced like it sucks, like the 265K, like 20 cores, less than almost like $10 a core for what I got it for. And then you just put it in something like this, you overclock it, and then it's just really good. So we got 233 and 162. Let's see here. I think that's maybe less or right about the same what we got with our dirty overclock. Is it in here? I guess, does anyone remember what it was? I should have been taking screenshots this whole time. Our first one was 189, so that's higher than our first one. I'm looking in the video to see what the second one was. Okay, our second one with the dirty overclock was 235. So this is a slight regression. That's actually just variance. And then the 1% lows was 160, and we're at 162. So we're actually just sitting the same in pretty much both these games after we tuned it. So that dirty overclock, really just getting the die to die up, making sure your RAM's quick enough is really where you're going to get max speed increase. I'll take a screenshot of this one. I almost wonder if me doing the E-cores at 5 gigahertz is like putting too much stress on the CPU and taking power away from the P-cores. But it didn't look like our clock speeds were dropping, so I guess not. I think that's it. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. We can just sit here and talk for a little bit, or if you just guys want to end, I think we can do that. I appreciate y'all tuning in to the Arrow Lake tuning session. Maybe if you're considering Arrow Lake now, you would like to do that more, or maybe after seeing this whole thing, you don't want to do it. It says, someone said some lag. Are we getting lagging on the stream? I don't think there's any lag on the stream right now. But yeah, I had fun tuning it. Not only did I get to do a live stream out of this, but now my system's tuned. I will also kind of tune the fan profile on there. And yeah, it's all good. My screen is freaking out right now. I have no idea what's going on. What's showing up on there? Okay, it's just my TV. What do you guys want to talk about? The Real Tech Geek. I'm interested in the 270K Plus, and you're right about the 9950X 3D2 being just a 3090 Ti right before the 4090. If you guys don't know, I said that in my Discord. I'm like, if you want to buy the 9950X 3D2, I mean, sure, it's going to be a good CPU, I think, but it's going to cost way too much for Zen 6 being as close as it is. Like, if you're an AMD fan, just wait for Zen 6. It's going to be a great architecture. There's probably going to be pent-up demand for it. There's definitely, people aren't considering this, there's definitely going to be a lot of pent-up demand for Raptor Lake, or not Raptor Lake, Nova Lake, because there's so much people stuck on Raptor Lake systems right now, waiting for Bartlett Lake. They didn't want to jump to the flaming duster fire that is Arrow Lake. And I guarantee you, Nova Lake's going to sell out. There's a lot of pent-up demand for Nova Lake. So just be careful. Like, if you're waiting, you're going to pay higher prices for Nova Lake. You're definitely going to. Motherboards are going to be expensive. CPUs are going to sell out. Just be prepared for that. Well, cool, guys. I think that's about it in the stream. You guys have any questions about tuning? Just make sure you get that die-to-die up. Make sure you get the cache up. Lock your core clocks, and you're going to have a great experience when you're gaming there. The 265K is the CPU I recommend if you can get this thing for cheap, because it's got 8P cores, and it can cost like $150 less, $100 less than the 270K Plus. 270K Plus is great though. If you do not have a Z890 board, if you do not have a board that can overclock, don't even think about getting one of these. You have to get the new ones because the die-to-die is increased there. Looks like my camera is starting to overheat. I think the battery died. Battery died on my little CPU cooler on it. Let's see. I can plug it in, or maybe not. I think I might just end the live stream. The battery died on it. I think that's it. You guys have any questions? Yeah. Okay. Well, it was fun doing this live stream with y'all. Tune in next week for some new videos. I have a video coming out, if you aren't a channel member, you haven't seen it, where I kind of just talk about TechTube and how I think it's dying a little bit with this whole RAM apocalypse thing. Things are starting to get kind of bad for video ideas, being excited about new hardware that we know it's just going to get canceled or never come out. You know, Exhibit A, B770, it came out just as a B70 Pro, which is $1,000, and that kind of sucks. But so that's just kind of my thoughts, and hope maybe you'll enjoy that. Maybe you'll find some sympathy in there. And then I think I'm gonna make a video maybe about the 5090 experience after 6 months, if you guys are interested in that. And yeah, maybe some more Arrow Lake videos coming out if you guys like that kind of stuff. But I think that's about it for today. How did my day go? You're holding out for the 270K. Contemplating jumping ship on 4070 Ti Super to 5080. Yeah, I don't think that's the best uplift out there. Although 50 series is going to age better than 40 series, I really do think that. Real Tech, my day went pretty good. I had some events at my university. I led those. There was like an interview thing that we did today. And then I came home and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my live stream. And I just took a nap. And then I woke up and I had to go back. I met some guys. It's my birthday on March 31st next week. So we just got a couple of beers. It was a good time. Celebrated my birthday. I'm turning 26. So I feel like this camera is really low. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. Yeah, I'm turning 26. So I appreciate you asking me about the birthday. But one last thing, I always say this at the end. We already have a lot of members in the chat, and in fact, that's all the people I see. But if you are not a member, it's $1 a month. You get cool badges, cool emojis. Really, I think it's a good deal. Just don't sign up on your iPhone, or it's $1.50 a month. Sign up on your desktop. And yeah, you'll get cool exclusive videos. It's really nice thing to do. And you support me. If I could get enough of the people being a member, I really think that I could focus less on what kind of content is going to get the most clicks and more about what kind of content I want to do and like be more excited about it. So that's kind of my thoughts with that. Yeah. All right. I think we're going to end the stream here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you found some positivity and some value in the live stream today. Feel free to reference this when you're coming back and just look back at it. I did not go into a lot of depth about individual voltages and things. If you're going to do that, I recommend getting an Asus board, to be honest with you. ASRock wasn't looking so hot for that, my experience. But with all that said, I'm going to say signing out here. Silicon Steak, signing out.